More like a one-on-one.
Yeah. On the Aural Theory, man. Density. So today we start modulation. And modulation is pretty simple, really, conceptually. It means that we're going to reinterpret a pitch as having a different solfege and syllable. And as we start off, we might just pause when the switch happens and reestablish the pitch, the new key using the new pitch context. So for example, let's say, let's get a pattern like this. Do, re, mi, sol, fa, mi, and then we will reinterpret that mi to be do. I'll establish our original key. Do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, sol, do. We're guessing up until the pivot point. Do, re, mi, sol, fa, mi. Now hold that note. That note is actually do. Then we establish new key. Do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do. Now. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Let's establish a new key. Sol is actually mi, establish key, mi, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, sol, do, mi, fa, mi, re, do. And so it's all about recontextualizing our original solfege and turning it into the solfege in the old key. As we do this, you will probably reach a point of proficiency where you can switch in your head without singing the new key out loud and reestablishing it. I certainly don't expect that right away. Mostly today, we're going to be working with some listening and getting used to reinterpreting things in a modulatory context. So we're going to do some melodic dictations. As before, we're only going to worry about half of the dictation at a time, which is convenient because each half is in a different key. Once we know the first half, and then we know the second half, we're just adding one more step in for our modulation. How did I get from the first half to the second half? Oftentimes it will have been by a half-step resolution. Well, you'll have heard a T go to do or a Fa to Mi. Or there might be one of those common tones where you hold the same note, like ended the first phrase and started the second phrase, and you figure out what it was in each phrase, and that tells you what key you modulated to. So we'll do some work with that today. So we'll start off in the key of D. Nice 4 on the bottom time signature. It is going to take a little bit of concentration to remember the first half when the second half is in a different key than the first half. So extra extractive listening focus today. First half.
No, do. Yeah, sorry. I forgot the do.
Ah, you lost the do, right?
Already, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that happens very easily when we're modulating. Is it is hard to remember your original do when we've just changed do's up.
Yeah.
So the usual strategies are useful for example, maybe grab the rhythm first.
Yeah.
And focus on really getting the rhythm of the first half. And then once you've got the rhythm, then you have some place as you're listening to just quickly sketch out what the solfege syllables are so you can Even if you can't sing them because you can't remember where the do is, you can say what the solfege syllables are. So here it is again for our new arrivals. The first half and second half of the melody are in different keys. So we're only going to get half at a time. We'll get the first half, we'll get the second half, then we'll figure out how the two keys connect.
First, it starts off during the solo do, or during the solo, and then at the end it's sol, do, and re.
Rhythmic syllables, first half. Ta, dee, ta, dee, ta, ta, ta. Could be past third note. And it started off with what?
Do.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol.
Was it T, do?
Ti, do, yes. So even if you can't remember what the original do was, you can still have heard the fairly basic tonal pattern there. All right. Now we're going to completely forget about the first half. And we're going to get the second half. Our last step will be figuring how the two keys connected. Second half. Da da bum 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 bum. Clapping. Dum bum 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 bum. Rhythmic syllables. Ta dee ta dee ta ta ta. Is mi, continue. Mi, fa, mi, re, do, sol, do. All right, now I'm going to give you one more listening. And our question is, how does the last note of this phrase relate to the first note of this phrase? It might be the same. There might be a half-step connection between the two. Those are common things to do. We'll listen and find out. It's the same. Yeah.
So in key B flat.
So the do became the mi, and D is mi in the key of yes, B flat. Now our last trick, of course, is to notate. Good time signature for this one. 2 works great. Starting off in the key of D major, 2 sharps.
Are we marking the key change or is it like a short one? So
And it's not worth writing a new key signature for. That's why on Tuesday we practiced notating things in a different key than the key signature. So
C is natural.
we're going to need a C natural. Get rid of the C sharp there.
These are flat.
We're going to need B flats.
And the one E is flat.
We're going to need E flat, absolutely.
That's, oh wait, there's an F at the end. So F.
And the F needs to be natural. There we go. Easy enough. Let's do some more. Get some good practice doing these modulations. Sometimes, by the way, because it's hard to remember the original do sometimes. It can be a very useful strategy to get the second half first and then go back and get the first half. So let's try that this time. We'll focus on getting our second half of the dictation first and then go back and do the first half. Second half. Dum, bum, dum, bum, dum, bum, bum. Clapping. Yeah, dum, bum, 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 bum. Some more compound. Compound. Taki to syllables. Taki da, taki da, ta. So continue. So mi do fa re ti do. Yes. All right, let's get our first half. First half. Now it's tricky, isn't it? Because you're still hearing the old key. That's okay. Kind of think it right out. First half, we're getting the first half, which is the harder one to sing because you're hearing the new key still. Rhythmic syllables, the first half, are ta-ki da ta-ki da ta da ta. And even if we can't accurately sing the solfege because we're not hearing that key, it went how?
Starting on sol.
Start on sol. Sol, fa, mi, fa, mi, re, do.
Sol?
Do something. That's good for now. This is a much greater challenge to the memory than getting the second half is. Oops, wrong octave.
Oh.
So fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, yes. Did anyone happen to catch how the two halves related to each other? Mi and sol were the same, yes. All right, 6/8, E flat major. So, mi, which becomes so mi do fa re ti do. And I just use my solfege to think the intervals between the notes. Just sol mi do looks like that. It's down to fa re ti, and if that's T, obviously do goes up here, which means we change from the key of A flat to the key of F. So I might need to do some alterations.
We don't have an E flat or B flat or we do have B flat.
No E flat, so that needs to be an E.
A flat or D flats.
And A flats become A naturals, yes. I don't have any D flats, I may change to D naturals. So rough there. Good questions about the process so far. Yeah, let's do some more. Did you find it easier the first time to get the first half first and then get the second half? Or was it easier to get the second half first and then do the first half?
I feel like it's situational, but first half.
Situational, depends on which one you happen to remember more easily.
Yeah.
That makes sense, and it is good to be flexible and be able to recognize that. That said, we need a consensus approach to take on this melody to work together. So let's do it democratically. If you would like to get the first half first, raise your hand. That's everybody, so that's unanimous. We don't even need to do the second half first. We'll get the first half first. Easy enough. Some more compound.
That was compound.
Compound, so rhythmic syllables. I actually heard people singing that pretty accurately, so I think we can probably put some solfege in it. Starts on do, do, sol, do, me, re, do, ti, do. Yeah. Yeah, we are in G minor.
I was confused about the soul. No, I just forgot about it.
That makes more sense because I like the first thing that he did after he played it, I sang this do sol do, and then everyone else was like sang a different part. I was like, oh no, did I sing the second half? Am I stupid?
Alright, Caleb, do more. Alright, now let's get our second half. Second half. Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Think of your rhythmic syllables. Ta-ki-da, ta-ki-da, ta-da-ta. Bum, 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 of course, is sol, la, ti, do, me, re, do, ti, do. All right. Now we figure out the connection. And sure enough, in this particular case, the do became the sol. So G becomes sol, which puts us in C minor. Sol, la, ti, do, me, re, do, ti, do.
And natural on the B.
We need B naturals for the T.
And also for the. Oh wait, we don't have an A flat.
And we're doing a sol la ti do, which we would normally want to raise, but we have an A natural in the key signature, so this one pivots pretty easily. We just need that B natural there. Good. That's why, by the way, we often modulate to the key of the sol, or to the key of the fa, because we only have to change one thing. All right. You're doing well. Let me throw a monkey wrench at you. Yes, let's do this one. That one was a little more of a surprising modulation, wasn't it? And this, I think the surprise short-circuited our working memory. Most of us want to hear it again, don't we?
Yep.
Now that the surprise is out of our system, we can now ignore it. Rhythmic syllables in the first half. Ta, ki, da, ta, da, ta, da, ta. All right, start it out. Do, ti, do, sol, do, do, re, re.
When you guys are doing relative parallel.
I'll find out what happens. Let's raise my T, ki, da, 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 da. Let's get our second half. Second half. Da, 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 bum, bum, bum. Rhythmic syllables. Ta, ki, da, ta, ki, da, ta, da, ta. And it starts on me. Close.
Wait, no.
Me. Yeah. Mi, fa, mi, re, do, sol, do. Now, of course, we get our connection.
That was such a clever modulation. That was so cool.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah.
It's the same pitch. The me became the me.
That's why I
Overall.
said me.
Yeah.
Went down.
I was like,
Fa,
yeah.
mi, re, do, sol, do.
That was cool.
Yeah. Oh, no. I said when you were like close, and I was like, oh, what?
Now, E is me in the key of C major, so we're going to probably need to change the notes here.
Make everything natural.
Make everything natural, not an F sharp with a F natural. Not a D sharp with a natural, not a C sharp with a
Natural.
and not a G sharp with a, and there we go.
I was like, that's definitely me.
Hey, Riemannian fans. Which operator takes us from C sharp minor to C major? One where we keep the third the same and the other two notes slide by half step.
So, well, there's two of them. Relative would just make it not a C sharp. Did make it G sharp? No. But C.
Darn it.
A.
R.
Guys, you're killing it.
God, this guy is cute.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that. I'll let that one slide.
L. So that
And you already guessed A, E, and O.
yeah, I was gonna say we gotta have something.
I'm looking at this and seeing Alice, but A is already good.
Did I hear what?
P.
P, no.
All right, try them both.
B.
Did I hear D or B?
B.
Oh, wrong.
Oh, I'm looking at the beginning of the word, not the end.
Well, I think we lost.
Slide.
D.
Slide. Yeah. I told it to you twice.
Oh.
When you keep the third of the chord the same and slide the other two notes down by half step. And then when I told Ty, I'll let that cue slide. The subtle clues this morning. Yeah, slide operation.
Slides right over my head.
Yes, right.
Hey, let's do another. That's why I review these things from time to time.
What's that? Oh, no.
Math or word?
I don't know, somebody said slide quickly enough that we could slice the rope before he had jumped to
There we
death.
go.
Still alive.
We didn't draw his shoes either, so.
Or his fingers.
Or
Or his
face.
belly button, don't forget that.
He was faceless.
We weren't even close to losing.
Not even halfway. He'd only started the choke.
First half. And just chant the rhythm if you can't remember the pitches. No. Rhythm syllables? Ta, ki, ta, 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 ta. Now we'll see if we can add some pitches with that.
We might have that second.
I'll find out if Caleb's right or not.
I know the first part, the very first three notes are right.
So in fact, the beginning was, and those are da 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 miss mi re do sol fa mi. All right, let's get our second half. Dum ba da dum bum bum ba dum, clapping. Dum ba da dum bum bum ba dum. Which makes it ta di mi ta di ta mi ta. Starts on do ti la sol la mi re do.
Sounds like a rip-off of Happy Birthday.
Let's get to the font.
Yeah.
Do, re, do. And now we figure how the two halves connect.
It acts as like a TV.
It acts like a T-do.
Yeah.
Which means the mi
Goes up by half step.
goes up a half step. So what was the this way? Go by half step from mi to
Would be the fa.
fa. So the fa becomes the
Key.
do. We reversed the half step. Instead of the fa being the unstable pitch going to the mi became the T unstable pitch going to the do. Very smooth little transition. All right, notated.
I feel like because of that transition, it was really easy to keep on the original key too.
It wasn't as distant as some of them, was it?
Right. Yep.
When the fa becomes do, that takes us from the key of F to the key of
B flat.
What do I need to change? E to E flat. Yes. Fairly easy modulation there. All right. Let's do this one. I don't need to score yet. We can get work done here. Bass clef. We'll start off in the key of C. Form a moment signature. We know it went do, do, ti, do, re, mi, fa, Sol.
It gets fuzzy after that.
And then it gets fuzzy because something weird happened.
The so, the transition so is
Yeah.
the same pitch.
Yeah, transition is.
Rhythmic syllables? Ta, ta, dee, ta, dee, ta, ta, ta. Which means a good time signature would be
2 or 4, maybe. 3.
one of the two, or 3.
Probably 3.
Probably 3 because long notes like to be strong notes. Actually, this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then Blaze already told me something about the connecting.
The next note is the same as the last note.
Whatever this is, stays on the same note.
Which sounds good. Then everything is that.
Oops, wrong. There. All right, let's go to our second half. Second half. Dum, ba, dum, bum, bum, bum. Yes, I did definitely anything in the T half. Rhythmic syllables. Ta, ti, ta, 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 ta. I hear it, so let's write it. Me, re, do, sol, ti, do. And if the G is may, I'm now going to write me, re, do, re, sol, ti, do. Which I need to change. E to E flat? I think you're thinking me, Rado. Feel free to use, if you don't want to think about the keys, think about our intervals. Major re is a half step, so G to F sharp, and then re to do is a whole step, so F sharp 2.
F sharp 2.
Those are both.
You have to be a whole step, so F sharp to E. Yeah, so we're in E minor. Mi, re, do, sol, ti, do. Of course, we've got to raise our T. Good. You have Madian fans? Light on Vexel, yeah. Yeah, let's do another one. Think about which one I want to change around a little bit. All right, do will be B flat. 8 in the bottom time signature. Rhythmic syllables. Ta, ta, ki, da, ta, da, ta. Started on. So continue. So, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi. Let's get our second half. I'll note hit the first half real quickly. Second half. Da 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 bum bum bum. Rhythmic syllables. Ta ki da ta da ta. Mi re do sol ti do.
Carbon copy of the previous one.
Now,
That was a weird interval.
There's like a half,
relationship.
half step, right?
Let's see what happens. Half step down, so the mi became the new fa. So D is fa. Mi, re, do, sol, ti, do. Oh, it needs a change.
The C sharp.
It's the C sharp.
E natural.
E natural.
E becomes natural. G sharp.
G sharp. One more.
B becomes natural.
B natural. Because we want to delay from B flat major to A major. And the fun thing, of course, would have been coming with the implying the. No, that's not right. Oh, that's fun, obviously. Probably easiest to go this way. I use the slide to connect the two, but a slide onto the dominant seventh. That was fun to figure out. Good, I think that will do us for today. I'll see you tomorrow.